Hi everybody, I'm Sue here at Blue Heron Hill and I'm in my garden and I want to do a little update on my June garden and show you what has been growing in the month of May and is continuing on in June. I am sitting here with potatoes in the background. This is one of my 2 potato patches and it's doing extremely well. I've mounded it up once already. I'm not sure I have enough soil in this bed to mound it up again, so I am going to leave it go. As soon as you start getting flowers and then the flowers die, you can harvest a few of the new potatoes. And I'm going to try and do that as soon as I see some flowers emerge on those plants. If you're new to my channel, I would hope you would consider subscribing and following me along on my gardening journey this summer in 2022. Lots of gardening information. I'll share with you my trials and my tribulations. I've had many in the past. You can go back and watch some of those videos. I'll share my successes and my failures with you. But for now, let's go and see what is growing in my garden in this early June. Come on, let's go. First of all, I have one of my sweet potato bins, and I have a couple more slips that I'm going to plant in here. I have one here that's not looking so well, but you never know what's going to pop out from around it, so that I'm leaving. But I can squeeze another one in over in this corner. So I'm going to take this long one here. It's got quite an extensive root system on it. And I'm going to plant that deep. I'll give this a water in. And we are going to find a place to put this little guy here. Let's go find another bin to put it in. I think this one fits the bill. Right here. This is rather dry, so I'm going to have to give this a good soaking. There we go. Perfect. I don't know if you remember in one of my previous videos, there was something here coming up as a volunteer. And I thought may have been a squash. But as it grew up, it turned out that it was a Mexican sunflower. So I've transplanted that into another part of the garden. And those are spectacular plants if you want to try and grow those. Here's a row of lettuce. And there is a oak leaf lettuce right in the middle of that. We've been eating off of this for a couple weeks now. In the background, sprouting here are pole beans. I think these are the purple pole beans on this side. And then over here on this side are the greens. Had very poor germination, so the other day I had to replant along here. They should be popping up in a day or two. Radishes, a random lettuce that popped up there. The other side of the bed, I see lettuce. Lots of lettuce, spinach. I'm assuming if I can get another week out of this spinach, I'll be very lucky. I've been cutting it heavily. But as the temperatures warm up, spinach does not do so well. I have some freckle lettuce here. I have some red sails here in the background. And butter crunch lettuce down at this side. Next is my pumpkin patch. If you've been following me, you remember last year I used this slope. It's a gentle slope, south facing, as my pumpkin patch, and I planted my pumpkins and some melons in feed bags, old feed bags. Well, I couldn't keep these feed bags moist enough constantly. So this year I dug holes in the ground, amended the soil heavily with compost again, and I'm having fairly good results with the germination. These are pumpkins. I'm going to have to cull those down to just a few. And there's some pumpkins up there. There's one that's doing very well up there. A couple more here and some there. Here's a row of blueberry bushes. If you can see, I think if you can see right here, I'm going to get some blueberries this year. This is year 3, I think, on these blueberries. Here's one here that, let's see, there's going to be a few on there. This is my brassica bed. I have Chinese cabbage down at this end. You can see I have tightened up the heads here. So right here you can tell right there. This is to kind of blanch the interior. I do have a little insect damage on some of these leaves, but not nearly as bad as I had last year. The insect fabric has done very well. I think this is cabbage. I have some cauliflower here, and this is all broccoli. And if you can see, there is a head there. Few more have some substantial heads. There is a head right there. But they're coming along fine. And insect covering is an absolute must with your brassicas. When these are harvested, I'll amend the soil again and put in another late crop of brassicas in here. Now that is the one side of my garden, the greenhouse side of the garden, or the vineyard side of the garden, which I pruned out yesterday. We're going to have a spectacular crop of grapes this year. This is what I call my main garden. It's 24 by 24. And I have peppers all down here. This is my pepper parkway this year. I have on the outside cattle panel tomatoes. These tomatoes are Jetstar tomatoes and Hungarian heart tomatoes. The first two here are Dr. Witchy's. This is a pepper plant that I wintered over, and as you can see, I do have a little pepper and lots of blossoms. There was another wintered over one, didn't do too well. This is pretty good. It's got some insect damage here. I'm going to have to address that. But all my peppers are doing spectacularly well. A lot of them already have peppers on them. Oops. Peppers. There's one over here. That's a pepper. Here's a pepper here. These are down here, these are jalapenos here. This series here are natapenos here. And then I have some paprika peppers. As a matter of fact, look at that little one right in there peeking out. Very, very, very enthused about my peppers this year. And tomatoes are doing well. The tomatoes on this side are all cherry tomatoes or grape tomatoes. I'm trying out a number of new varieties. This is an ornamental pepper. The peppers will turn yellow, orange, and red. This is another, I think that's another oriental also. Bordering this bed are celery plants. I have more green beans. These are bush beans. This row here, I have some gaps in here I replanted. These are yellow beans, yellow wax beans, and these are green beans. Across the way, I've planted some squashes. Let's see, these are better. This is a honey nut squash. It's an individual style butternut squash. Same with that. I have some zucchini here and some yellow squash over there. This is cages for my cucumbers, which get munched off by, I thought it might be chipmunks or something like that, but I'm rethinking that. I'm thinking maybe it is some kind of a beetle, a cucumber beetle. I'll let you know how that works, but I have to cage it off. I do cage it off every single year, and that seemed to have done very well. If it's a beetle, they can go right through that cage, so we'll see how that turns out. On this side, this is edamame. Doing well. And my onion patch, I think we have an airplane going overhead. Doing spectacularly well. I have to get in here and weed some things out. Onions do not like weed pressure. They are a root crop because their bulb forms underground, and they don't want to compete with weed roots. Down here on this row, this is my third row. It's only like a half row on this cattle panel. These are, this variety of tomato is a celebrity, and we all already have some nice blossoms on that. And they're paste tomatoes down here. Probably Amish paste is really what I have. And then down at the other end, you'll see raspberries. This is just loaded raspberry bushes here. I'm going to have a spectacular crop. I think down at the end of this row, instead of planting tomatoes, I have some more pole beans down in there. You can, they're hidden beneath the raspberry bushes. Up and over, you can see my second potato patch here. These are, I think they're Kennebecs. It's a white potato. They're doing very well. I hilled it up once, and we'll probably be hilling it up in another day or two for its final hilling. My last garden is my green stalk. I have 2 layers of strawberries, and they are just doing very well. I think maybe we have another week to go before those. A couple marigolds in there. Up here we have some lettuce, got some celery. There's a celery and a couple more lettuce plants here. Down here, these are beets, and I think we have carrots here, and more carrots here, and I think more carrots here. Those will have to be thinned out. Those were my different garden zones, and everything seems to be doing just fine. Fingers crossed on those cucumbers. I had to replant in the bean department there on my cattle panel trellis, and I might just start some cucumbers in the greenhouse if I always found that once they get started, whatever it is doesn't seem to want to eat it after it gets its first primary leaves. So that's what I might be doing today. Don't have to worry too much. Cucumbers love the heat. I'm not too late. I'm a little late, but not too late. Thank you for joining me on this early June garden tour. Like I said in the beginning, if you are new, please subscribe, give me a thumbs up, and share it with anybody else that might want some gardening content in their lives. So until the next time that we can go digging in the dirt, happy gardening. Bye.